Oh, Anzo. I should have turned off the fan. Maybe I should turn off the fan. Turn off the fan. Turn off the fan. Turn off the fan. Okay, the fan is off. We got it. We got it. We got it. We're doing it. We're doing it right. We're accomplishing things. Anyways, so this is gonna be my first impressions. I don't think I'm gonna do this for summer anime. I'm gonna do this for everything because I have yet to find. I think last season was like this too. I didn't really have an anime I really liked. I think the closest thing I had was like Hawaii Complex. Actually, I didn't watch that much new shit last yeah, I didn't watch that much new stuff. Like, I think once Isekoi ended, I just kind of fell into like a really indifferent slumping towards anime. Not anime in general, just anime, just any streaming shit. I wasn't watching too much. If anyone's curious about what I've tried, I know Tokyo Ghoul's getting a lot of hype. Honestly, I'm gonna wait for the dub. I've read the synopsis, so I know a general idea of what Tokyo Ghoul is about. So I'm fine. I'll just wait until a dub release because they already announced they have the home video rights for that. And a lot of people in Sam's already spammed me twice saying, "Oh, it's amazing." All right, I get it. I saw the episode reviews. Jesus, well, I didn't watch them, but I saw the title said it was amazing, so I assumed it was amazing. Anyways, I have watched the first episode of Glass Slip, Rail Wars, whatever the fuck. And recently, today, which is what I'm talking about, is Akame ga Kill, which is a sinning that... okay, look. Let me just give you a general basis idea of what I've done since watching the first episode. I watched the first episode, and then my first thought was to immediately go and look up spoilers. That's what I did, and that's not a joke. Literally, that was exactly I watched the first episode, went to go look up spoilers on the manga. Now, granted, I didn't spoil myself to the ridiculous extent, like I know arcs in and out and shit. All I did was I looked up some character bios. I didn't even read the full bios for most of them, just like for the main character, maybe a few of the other characters. I read like the second chapters. I know what happens in the next episode. And I saw a spoiler involving a character of something that happens in chapter 45. Now, granted, this is a monthly series and it only has 50 chapters. I looked on the forum and someone wrote like blank 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 in chapter 45, and I was like, oh. And then I actually looked in the bios and went, oh, really? Now, if you haven't seen the anime, I'm not even gonna do a traditional first impressions. If you haven't seen the anime, it's pretty much you have this government going around. You have the main character is a village kid who's relatively strong. He set out with his 3 friends. He's going to the capital to like join the army to make some money to protect pretty much afford to support his village, him and his other 2 friends. But they get separated on the way there. He gets robbed by this big-breasted chick in the beginning of the episode, so he's pretty much slumming it. And then he gets picked up by this nice little girl and her family. They take care of him. And then you get into the later half, there's talking about this group called Night Raider who goes around assassinating wealthy people because they have money, and they happen to assassinate the family that's taking care of them, but not before he finds out what kind of people Night Raider are and what kind of people he was staying with, because it has a Woody Twist moment where you find out that the Knight's family are fucking sadists who like torturing people. They like picking up strangers and they like just torturing the shit out of them because they're the lowly commoner people. From the little girl to the mother and father. Granted, the only person we ever found out who was really sadistic, like we were shown that they were sadistic, was the little girl. But that's not really my issue anyway. You also find out that his 2 other friends have been, for the most part, well, the guy isn't dead, but he is by the end of the episode. His female friend and his male friend, I think, is Ieyasu and Sayo. Sayo's dead from the get-go. She's hanging off of she's naked, hanging off of a chain, dead. And then Ieyasu is like completely fucked up, but is still alive, but he dies like soon after. So the true colors are revealed. You understand what Night Raid is, pretty much the fighters of justice, even though it's probably an exaggerated term, you get what I mean. And he kills the little girl who has no fucks to give about killing his friends or just killing people anyway because they're poor people and poor people suck dick. And then the episode ends with the Night Raider group being like, I like him, let's take him with us, and him being like, what the fuck is this shit? And that's how the episode ends. I need to give that synopsis so I can kind of express my problems and what bothers me about this show. This show is a sinning. Like, I looked it up, it's classified as a sinning, and from some of the spoilers I've read, it definitely is a sinning depending on when you know about certain plot developments that happen with certain characters. And granted, I haven't looked up too much, so you can kind of assume what that plot development is. For all intents and purposes, you know what bothers me about this show the most? It tries, I'm not even going to say it tries to mix. It feels like a mix in terms of the way it handles its lighthearted scenes and its serious scenes. It's like a mix of fucking like FMA serious scenes and like any harem anime's chilled out scenes. God, people don't realize how jarring that is. It is so jarring. Like literally the switch between light, and it's like harem light. And what makes it worse is if you look at, go look at the characters on the main cast for this show. If you notice something, there's like the majority of them are women. The only other dude you see is the guy in the armor, and then I found out that the dude in the green hair is actually a guy. I didn't realize that at the time because he doesn't look like a guy, except for the fact that he's flat-chested. But you know, they make jokes about that in harems all the fucking time. There's only 3 guys, and I think there's like 4 or 5 girls. Oh, by the way, when you meet the boss of Night Raid, it's a girl too. Anyways, so the plot to me wasn't anything interesting because you know he's going to join because of the name of the anime and because of common sense. But what bugs me is, so I'm not really, so it's like the next episode is pretty much going to kind of go into the reason why he'll end up joining, but that's not really anything special. I will say for the next few episodes, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's really cliched shit. What I mean by cliched, meaning you could probably guess from the next episode how they're going to treat every episode after that in terms of showing off the characters and everything. Why? Because I just looked at like light synopsises of like the first 2 of like chapter 3 and chapter 4, and it's literally exactly what you're thinking. It's like what they would do for a harem anime every time they introduce a new girl. It's the same kind of fucking logic. And I've also noticed, if you read some of the descriptions of some of the characters and the spoilers, that's another thing that gives away the harem vibe from just a base look. Its comedy scenes feel like a harem. It feels like a harem in its light scenes. Now, to really and I don't have a problem with sinnings in general. I just, I'm a lot harsher towards sinnings because sinnings fucking are supposed to be taken seriously. Sinnings have that whole mindset of basing themselves in reality, aka meaning there's a certain level of seriousness that goes with them. This is like harem levels, and harems are nowhere near being realistic 90% of the time. Actually, yeah, almost 100% of the time. Harems are never being seen as realistic, so the harem type of light mood and comedy they have bothers me. On top of which, you have the thing that the main character did that annoyed me. I didn't have a problem with the main character, and I still don't have a problem with his personality, except for the thing that apparently he does that most main characters won't do. And it's a sinning, so it's not really shocking why he's doing it here. The fact that he was so willing to kill. Now, from what I've read and looked up, which isn't much, the only thing I know about that's he's still kind of like a traditional main character in is that he's still somewhat hesitant about killing people. He has no problem killing people. He just is sometimes hesitant towards his enemies with it, which is the other thing that bugs the shit out of me. What kind of trait is that for a character who can already kill? If you have the resolve to kill, you shouldn't be in this stupid contemplating mode in which you're like, well, he's fighting for his family too. I'm just like, dude, what? Like, it doesn't make sense for a character who already is killing. If you're already killing individuals, and from what I've seen in the second chapter, he has no problem killing people, what logic does it make to have a trait that contradicts what you already do? It's like you're hesitant about killing people, but you kill people, which means if you see the first episode shows it, the way he killed that girl, there was no fucking remorse behind that. That nigga just slashed the shit out of her and give no fucks. I think a lot of people thought that was shock value because you're not used to seeing a main character do that in this type of show, because the show didn't even feel like a sinning. It is. Trust me, it is. But it doesn't feel like it just from that episode. It still feels more lighthearted with an edge to it. That's what it feels like. It feels like a lighthearted show with an edge to it. that makes it a little bit darker than the average show than you're used to. The plot to me isn't anything interesting. You'll find it out next episode. It is really basic. It's that whole Batman mentality. Oh, we can't go through the system to fix shit, so we're gonna do shit in the background because the government is corrupt. It's the same. It's literally like one of the most basic plot lines you can do for a sinning, which is that isn't trying to be ridiculously grotesque for the fuck of being grotesque. The characters' relationships with each other. If you just go look up you don't have to do that. If I'm saying it's lighthearted moments are like harems, you could probably guess what I mean when I say relationships to other characters. It clashes, and it's so jarring to watch when you have scenes in which people's heads are getting cut off. Like, they have no problem showing gore and blood, which they kind of made obvious that this was going to be a sinning just because when you first see him fight that dragon, they show a lot of blood just to be fighting some mock creature. They usually don't do that unless the series is gory to begin with, and that's exactly what it is. Gory to begin with. That's not the point I'm trying to make, though. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that the show, to me, bothers me purely on two things. One, I feel like the main character's whole... that he can kill, and actually it brings up the question, what the fuck kind of development are you gonna have if you already know how to kill people? Like, what development do you get from the only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna get close to the main characters of Night Raid, which, if it's a sinning, you can kind of guess how that's gonna go. I mean, it's a sinning, for God's sakes. That's like saying, I'm gonna get close to the Attack on Titan characters. Whoopsie! Like that's how this shit works. I mean, it's a fucking sinning. What did you expect? So I'm like, okay, so you have this harem so all your lighthearted moments and like comedy and whatever else, and ecchi for whatever reason. It's not like ridiculously ecchi. I haven't seen anything ridiculously ecchi, but I do know of ecchi moments because one of the summaries for a chapter said something along the lines of something happening and somebody's clothes falling off. So I'm like, so you're gonna have these harem type light moments, and it's just still trying to pull off these dark ass assassination missions. How does that work? And I'm not saying I hate the show, but it's so jarring. That first episode was jarring as fuck. And then, as I said, the whole I'm already killing, but I have an apprehension about killing. But you're already killing! And it's not like you're even doing like one of those bullshit sense of types of killing. He's like full on in, I'm gonna fuck your shit up. So, what kind of development are you gonna have? What? That you just from what I understand, and the spoiler I have read, I think all it is that he just becomes less hesitant about killing enemies. I think he pretty much normals out. He pretty much is like everybody else in the group. He's lighthearted during lighthearted moments, and he'll fuck your shit up, and you know, violent moments, and then but for some reason he still has that whole shonen characteristic of being about how could you do such a terrible thing to these people, you know, the whole inner justice thing, which is like the only thing that makes him kind of interesting is that he has the same type of mindset. I feel like this is going to be one of those shows that is entertaining just by watching but has no depth to it. I can imagine that being it. And yes, I know it's a sinning, and yes, I've read the spoilers about the plot development for certain characters, so I know why people might like this show. And then on top of that, I think I've heard something about S Death, I think is her name. I read like a little bit about her relationship and how she first encounters certain members and her relationship with certain members. That was complete. It's so cliched harem that the dark scenes that I know about just from looking at some spoilers, they clash so badly. If you're gonna do comedy in a sinning, you gotta understand you can't go full on harem comedy with it. You can't go like Sket Dance Gintama comedy. You have to be able to like balance that shit out. Like get to like a mid-tier level. Like I think FMA's comedy was pretty fair for all intents and purposes, and FMA's comedy wasn't one of those things that kind of happened and then the next scene got really gory. Like FMA stayed middle ground, which is why FMA worked. You can't like fucking Akame Got Killed is like up here with its comedy and lighthearted shit, and like down here with its dark and grotesque shit. Granted, I don't think it doesn't feel that dark, but that's because the lighthearted shit is making me not take it as seriously. It's like, oh man, oh look, there goes the two friends who were supposed to be, he was supposed to meet up with. And my emotional reaction was kind of like, eh. I kind of figured that was going to be some shit just because they're not in the opening, so I just assumed that they were going to be fucked up anyway. Like, the opening itself, just like the anime, just looking at the cover just made me go, they're probably going to be dead or he's going to be looking for them. But if it's a sinning, I expect them to be dead. So death doesn't do anything for me. Which is one of the whole hardcore things about fucking sinnings. Like, if sinnings don't have a mature plot, I don't give a fuck if characters are dying or getting raped. That doesn't mean anything. That's just shock value. I need some type of plot and character development to justify it being a sinning, and then I realized the reason why it's justified being a sinning is because of the violence and the dark themes like rape and tormenting. Which, by the way, I heard there's some tormenting in Tokyo Ghoul with the main character. I don't think that's actually been revealed yet, but once again, I did look up some slight spoilers for that. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that the lighthearted moments and the serious moments clashed, so I don't take either one of them too seriously because of it. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but that's just how I felt about it. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This has been Insane Game Freak. That's all really how I feel about this. I'm looking for like a show that I'm enjoying. Glass Slip was weird. Rail War seems like it'll be like my neutral series, like I'll probably like the most. I don't know, maybe it's like sinnings are just kind of boring now because a lot of them just focus on the death and shit. So when I can't find a sinning that just challenges me mentally, I just kind of get bored with it. Which is why Attack on Titan was boring and also had really annoying setup with that shit. Also, there's a problem. It's like the whole, oh, in a sinning, you know, it's the real world, so characters can die in the drop of a hat. And I'm like, okay, fine, I get that. But the problem is, as a viewer and someone who's trying to be entertained, I can't be involved in the story if everybody besides, like, the main 2 or 3 characters are dying. And if you're going to do that, those main 3 characters better be fucking strong as shit. And don't reuse the damn thing all over the place. I'm serious, like when they want to reuse killing characters off all the goddamn time. Because then we just come to expect it and we don't get any sense of enjoyment. It's like you'll introduce like 6 characters and all 6 die and then you expect me to care about the 7th character who just lived 10 seconds longer than everybody else. No! No! Absolutely not. Anyways, that's essentially my thoughts. So I'll leave yours in the comment section below. What do you think about the first episode? Have you read the manga? Is the manga better? I know the anime did like a 1-to-1 translation of the first chapter of the manga, which, by the way, 88 pages is fucking ridiculous. It's a monthly series, but still, you know, just let me know your thoughts and comments, and if anything, if you think I should still watch it even knowing some of the spoilers. And I know about that male character and that other female character, so yeah. Anyways, Insane Game Freak. Terrell Game Vlogs. Vlogs Game Freak, boy Terrell. Catch you guys later. Peace out.